What's up, World Wide Web? My name is James Rivas. I'm a Cisco SE, and I'm so excited today to talk to you about Cisco HyperFlex and what it can do for your business. Did you see it or did you miss it? Because what I saw was speed, agility, and versatility across multiple clouds, multiple platforms, and multiple clusters. Cisco HyperFlex is here to transform your business. Today we're going to talk about HyperFlex 3.0. That's right, 3.0. It ain't its first rodeo. But first, for all you HyperFlex newbies out there, we're going to talk about what it is, where it come from, and why do you care. So all HyperFlex is Cisco's hyper-converged platform, which means it has storage, compute, and networking all bundled together, served up to you on a silver platter. It's that simple. So HyperFlex, where'd it come from? That's a great question. Cisco HyperFlex gets its origins in Cisco UCS, or Unified Computing System. Now what's that? UCS takes compute and networking and ties them together across a high-performance fabric, all managed under one UCS manager. Boom! It changed the industry. UCS became #1 in the server and blade market in just 5 years, surpassing HP, Dell, and IBM. That's quite an impressive feat. UCS has a number of innovations which were truly groundbreaking, one of those being stateless compute. Stateless compute basically abstracted the underlying hardware from the software, which enabled IT administrators greater flexibility and mobility to move workloads throughout the data center. Secondly, it has this integrated rack and blade environment, all under UCS Manager. One policy, one management tool for both servers in blade and rack environments. That's huge. And they had this innovation of virtual interface cards, which essentially extended the network fabric to both the servers and the virtual machines, which enables the same level of visibility and control for both platforms. This is how UCS quickly became the #1 server in the industry. Now, what does Cisco in its infinite wisdom decide to do? Well, why don't we put some storage with that? Boom. Now you have Cisco HyperFlex. As you can see, since 2016, the HyperFlex platform has continued to evolve, delivering more and more enterprise-class solutions. 2017 was a big year for HyperFlex. We added 2,400 new HyperFlex customers, continue to innovate quarter over quarter, adding an all-flash platform and 40 gig network, as well as secure drives. That brought us to be the #1 in performance and consistency in the industry, and over time, we'll see more and more customers becoming HyperFlex customers. And if you're going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. Now, enough with the background information. Today we're going to talk about HyperFlex 3.0, some of its highlights, new features, and key differentiators. And you know what? If you're lucky, at the end, I might even show you a demo. So like I said at the beginning of this video, HyperFlex 3.0 is about any app, any cloud, at any scale. The HyperFlex 3.0 release delivers key advancements in mission-critical and cloud-native workload support. It supports multiple hypervisors, not just VMware ESXi, but also Microsoft Hyper-V. There's also support for containers. The new HyperFlex Flex Volume driver enables persistent volumes to Kubernetes managed containers, as well as enterprise application validators. You can deploy a wide range of workloads in HyperFlex with our validated designs and solution guides for Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, and Splunk. HyperFlex now includes powerful service integrators with applications such as App Dynamics, which enables performance monitoring of hybrid applications running application tiers on HyperFlex and across the clouds. Cisco Workload Optimization Manager, which analyzes workloads to assist with workload placement on HyperFlex, as well as Cisco Cloud Center, which enables workload mobility between HyperFlex and public and private clouds. Finally, HyperFlex is great at any scale, from the core to the edge to the public cloud. HyperFlex now provides support for up to 64 node clusters for added resiliency, as well as automated availability zones. Of course, there's support for stretch clusters, whereas HyperFlex works across geographic distances. And there's also support for Cisco Intersight for HyperFlex cloud deployments on edge and remote environments.
You can't touch this.
I just want to take the time and call out the Hyper-V support on HyperFlex. We're not just talking about Hyper-V by itself, but we're talking about the whole Hyper-V Microsoft suite. Yep, that's right. We got integrated management with Microsoft System Center Virtual Machine Manager, support for PowerShell, as well as Windows Server 2016. The Microsoft native failover clustering and checkpoint snapshots, replica support, AD support, the whole thing is bundled in there, not just Hyper-V by itself. I also want to call out HyperFlex support for any workload, whether that be Citrix Zen Desktop, MySQL, SAP, ACI, or even VSI or Virtual Server Infrastructure on HyperFlex. See, in VSI environments, normally you have compute and networking, and then storage is over in its own silo. But with HyperFlex, you get the ability to combine all three into a single managed system, leveraging the single pane of glass management and an easier deployment model, leading to more reliable operations. You want another call out? It's in the way that HyperFlex stores and manages its data. It's groundbreaking, and it's very fast. See, legacy file systems are read, modify, then write, resulting in a significant performance penalty. HyperFlex, however, has a distributed log structure file system, which appends the data for much faster performance. It's also a lot friendlier on flash storage. So this is yet another differentiator for HyperFlex. But hey, if you don't believe me, listen to some of our customers.
For us, HyperFlex really gave us the ability to scale and be flexible with our deployments.
We can go with a compute-only node and add 2 GPUs, which allows for really expanding the VDI, and we can also just expand storage by expanding the storage in our existing cluster.
What I love about HyperFlex is some of the simplicity that it provides over some of the other hyper-converged solutions. Based on some of the competitors of HyperFlex, it's a lot more simple, the deployment's a lot faster.
We are using HyperFlex for test dev environments, and we have the same agility that we have on AWS.
It's very easy. The deployment process is very simple, very straightforward. It's one-stop shop for managing everything.
For us, being a UCS shop, it's what we know. It's sort of our bread and butter, and it integrates with everything else really well. Incredibly, we now manage 3 times more with the same amount of people that we did before.
Really the convergence, the fact that we had 3 different things that we had to manage, upgrade, patch, now it's one product.
Okay, we've done a lot of talking about HyperFlex and its capabilities, but now I think it's time to show you a little demo so you can see for yourself how great HyperFlex is. Let's start off by showing the integration between HyperFlex and the vSphere web client. The HyperFlex data platform is administrated through the VMware vSphere web client plugin. Through this centralized point of control for the cluster, administrators can create volumes, monitor the data platform health, manage resource use, and even understand and predict when the cluster needs to be scaled. It's a powerful integration here, and it's a very valuable tool for administrators to use. Creating a new data store is simple and easy. Just go to the vSphere web client, create the data store, wait a few moments, and watch how the new data store is then automatically mounted onto all hosts within the HX storage cluster. Deploying VMs into the cluster is just as easy. Back in the vSphere web client, click Deploy OVA Template and select your desired template. Then enter an example name, such as James Linux Box. Select the HX cluster. Then select the data store that we just created. Select the destination network. Then click Finish. That task should finish in about just 1 minute, and boom! You've just deployed VMs into your HyperFlex cluster. You can also create native snapshots of a VM, which are helpful for creating copies for backup and remote replication purposes. In the vSphere client, right-click James Linux Box, and go to the Cisco HX Data Platform and click Snapshot Now. Then enter the name for the snapshot. James Snap 1 will do. Then watch as the task is completed in no time. Creating Ready Clones is just as simple. Ready Clones is a groundbreaking Cisco storage technology that enables you to rapidly create and customize multiple clone VMs from a host VM. Simply select Ready Clones from the drop-down menu, select the number of clones you'd like to create, then create a prefix for the VMs. Go ahead and select Power On those VMs after cloning, then click OK. Then boom, watch how fast those ready clones are created. The last thing I'd like to demo for you today is HyperFlex Connect. HyperFlex Connect is an HTML-based web GUI which is available to be used as a primary management tool for Cisco HyperFlex. Through this centralized point of control for the cluster, administrators can create volumes, monitor the data platform health, and manage resource use. Administrators can also use this data to predict when the cluster will need to be scaled. As an added benefit, HyperFlex Connect is role-based and can be accessed through any device with an internet connection. As this video comes to a close, I just want to make sure that you guys got the 3.0 features nailed down. Remember, it's Hyper-V integration, Kubernetes integration, support for logical availability zones, stretch clusters, 64 node capacity, which is double the previous limit of 32, and finally, support for large form factor drives of 6 and 8 terabyte hard drives. It's pretty amazing if you ask me, but hey, if all this doesn't convince you that HyperFlex is awesome, take the word of Frank Jeffrey, the CIO of a major law firm, who basically created a video just to endorse HyperFlex.
A brand that you respect, no need to fear or stress. You're gonna be amazed by Cisco HyperFlex. No need to second guess, boss will be impressed. Deploy your gear today on Cisco HyperFlex.